Slade. Well, the drunk driver who crashed into a flathead home, killing a 15-year-old girl, is sentenced to 17 years in prison. Almost 1 year ago, Erin Hauk was sleeping in her room when a car driven by Jared Parsons slammed through the wall, hitting and killing her. Parsons was charged with vehicular homicide and driving under the influence. Adding to the emotional day in court yesterday, Hauk's best friend called on everyone to have a designated driver in honor of Erin.
Erin was always there for me when a lot of people weren't. She was someone that I could really depend on, someone that I was very close to at the time, and someone that, I don't know, I knew would always be that person for me, someone that I knew I could love forever.
Now, the judge says the parole board will decide on any treatment for Parsons. Well, now to disturbing news out of Paradise Valley involving abandoned and neglected sled dogs. Stafford Animal Shelter got a call from the Park County Sheriff's Office yesterday about animal cruelty. When shelter folks got to the location, they found 17 dogs in emotional and physical distress. One Alaskan Husky had already died. Another was in such critical condition it had to be put down. Most were tethered outside on 6-foot chains and lived in plastic barrels. Even though highly stressed, staff say the dogs were gentle and sweet. Pending legal resolution of the case, authorities have given the go-ahead to put the dogs up for adoption. Well, election officials say a recount is now set in the extremely close vote on Townsend School District's elementary school bond. The official vote count showed the bond was passing by just 3 votes. That is close enough that a recount can go forward if 10 voters sign a petition asking for one. The Broadwater County Clerk's Office received that petition yesterday morning. The recount will be held Monday at noon at the Townsend Library. The $18.8 million bond would replace the existing elementary school, which leaders say is outdated and in poor condition. Well, it's time now to check in on the weather scene. Rob Griggs is in for Ed this noon, and it is a gorgeous day out there.
And it really is, Janelle. We've got a gorgeous day across the state, but when you hear me say things like we need the rain, here's what I'm talking about. Take a look at our drought outlook map right now. This is effective as of today. You notice across the western half of the United States, a lot of concerns all the way into the extreme categories way to our west. But even here in Montana, we have some moderate concerns up around Kalispell and dry conditions already spreading in southwestern, south central, and eastern Montana, and north central Wyoming. So every bit of rain we get in the next few days is going to be nice. Right now, no rain, some sunshine, a few clouds, temps rolling into the 50s and low 60s. Just a quick look around the state right now. Butte 52 and sunshine with a light north wind. And well, over there in Billings, 60 degrees and a west wind 12 miles an hour. But there is rain in the forecast. We'll tell you with the forecast in just a bit, you know.
Well, weekly figures from the Department of Labor indicate 3 million Americans filed initial claims for unemployment last week. A total of more than 36 million Americans have filed for unemployment assistance in the last 8 weeks. Now, surveys indicate those figures may actually underrepresent total job losses. Last week, the Department of Labor said the unemployment rate had risen from 4.4% to 14.7%. State health authorities report no new confirmed coronavirus cases across Montana this noon. Montana's numbers are among the most promising in the country. Now, the state shows 15 active cases and 3 of those individuals in the hospital. Well, we know Montana is one of the healthiest states in the U.S., but keeping it that way has taken a financial toll on many. In just 1 week, more than 9,600 businesses and individuals have filed for help through the CARES Act. Montana will distribute more than $120 million through 10 different programs. One of those programs offered gives money for businesses with 50 or fewer employees who have sustained a loss of revenue due to COVID-19. It accounted for 7,000 of the applications filed. To apply for a grant, you can head to commerce.mt.gov/coronavirus-relief. Well, as Montana works through its phased reopening, many people are heading back to work. But after taking a financial hit for 6 weeks, many wonder how they'll be able to afford daycare costs now that they won't be at home with their kids. MTN's Megan Mannering shows us some options for parents in need.
On average, families pay between $700 and $1,000 for childcare each month, depending on how old their kids are and how many kids they have. Executive Director of Child Care Resources, Kelly Rosenleaf, says although child care facilities have been closed for the past 6 weeks, many parents have still been paying.
Many child care facilities you pay at the beginning of the month for the whole month. And so even though they closed, parents were paying to hold that slot.
If your financial situation looks much different now than it did 2 months ago, you may be overwhelmed figuring out how you'll afford those daycare costs now that you're heading back to work. Rosenleaf offers some guidance for those struggling right now. She recommends applying for the Best Beginnings Scholarship, which helps eligible families cover the cost of childcare fees at licensed facilities.
If they head back to work and they're not working full time, then their earnings are less and they would probably be eligible for that scholarship program. And if that's the case, we'd love to enroll them right now. And then that eligibility is good for 12 months. So even as their hours go up and their income goes over what's permitted, they would still have 12 months worth of scholarship.
The scholarship application is based on your income right now. So even if you're heading back to work soon, you could still be eligible based on your current financial situation.
We really would like people to look at our website, give us a call, see if they are eligible now, even though they might have been over income in the past.
In Missoula, Megan Mannering, MTN News.
Thanks so much, Megan. Well, earlier this week, we told you about COVID-19 relief efforts underway by United Way of Cascade County. The fund provides emergency dollars to agencies who help those facing uncertainty due to the pandemic. One of those organizations to receive relief is St. Vincent de Paul. Officials told MTN that the money from United Way, with that money from United Way, they've been able to buy essentials for their food bank and reopen their homeless shelters, shower and laundry services. Now, the director of Homeless Services says the smallest things like a hot shower or a good meal can make a big difference in the life of someone seeking stability. Over the weekend, the American Legion canceled its baseball sponsorship for the season due to COVID-19. However, that doesn't mean Montana's Legion teams can't play this summer. They just have to do it independently. Coaches around the Treasure State are figuring out how to proceed. There's still a lot to be ironed out, but it will probably feel like Legion baseball, they say. One change that's certain is that teams will have to purchase their own insurance, which many have. The AA teams have voted to host a single-site state tournament with the location yet to be determined. Well, COVID-19 is also changing the course of Memorial Day ceremonies across Montana. All 3 state veteran cemeteries have canceled services, but there will be a virtual ceremony with a speech by Montana Adjutant General Matthew Quinn. Groups will not be able to place flags at each gravesite in Miles City, Helena, or Missoula. The virtual ceremony will include firing and cannon detail, the national anthem, taps, and a benediction and eulogy. National veteran cemeteries, including Yellowstone National Cemetery in Laurel, will not have public ceremonies either. Well, ahead on your new news, how 60 students in Great Falls are making the grade by recognizing their teachers. The time now is 12:08, but first, Rob Griggs is in next with your statewide weather forecast. Don't go away.
Winter Storm Tracker weather forecast with Rob Griggs.
Well, we're rolling out to a nice Thursday afternoon. Taking a look over here in Helena, Montana, 59 degrees, west winds gusting up to 24 miles an hour, and the barometric pressure holding steady. Boy, that sunshine's looking good. Sure greening up there nicely, too. Over in Missoula right now, 57 degrees, a very light southwest wind, and barometer falling a little bit, indicative of western Montana probably seeing some of that weather before central and eastern Montana sees all of that later on. Stepping out of the way right now, you can see still a few showers in the last couple of hours for south central Montana, north central Wyoming, and some of that is snow in the higher elevations of the Beartooth Ozarkas, the Pryors, and the Bighorns. But you know, the rest of the state looking good. Check out Jordan right now, 65 degrees. They're actually even warmer than Kalispell and Missoula. That's a little unusual. 61 right now at Great Falls and even 60 degrees, a little breezy up there on the high line at Cutback. Now, as we look at the satellite radar composite across the Pacific Northwest, you're probably seeing what I'm seeing right now. Some dry air right here. Temporarily across Montana, and you're also seeing a little more cloud cover and the next Pacific weather system that's going to slowly make its way across the Rockies, across the Divide, and into Montana and Wyoming. But this is tonight and all day tomorrow and tomorrow night. So we've got a little bit of time before that starts to roll in, starting from the west. These warmer temperatures in place pretty much statewide, warmer than they were yesterday and warmer than they will be tomorrow. As we advance the map, you see that next cool Pacific weather system moving on in, and it'll cruise on in there by tomorrow morning, easily stretching into central Montana, and those showers will continue across the state. But just about the time those clear out tomorrow evening, right on the heels of that, Saturday warming up a little bit for most locations, and as this weather checks on out of here, Saturday, Sunday, and even Monday is going to be impressive. So here's what the forecast looks like across the state. Once again, stepping out so you can see almost 70 degrees for Glendive and Miles City and Jordan and Glasgow. Those locations quite warm. The 50s and 60s everywhere else. And as we put this into motion, you can kind of see the advancing of those showers for western Montana coming up to the Divide and just over. Also southwest Montana into Yellowstone Park, where there'll be some snow, and that advances to about 8 p.m. tonight. Our forecast tonight shows more of that stretching now and swinging right into eastern Montana. Some of that could be in the form of an isolated scattered shower or thunderstorm, and those overnight lows tonight falling down into the 30s and 40s. But look at West Yellowstone. No wonder we saw a little bit of snow coming in on the pattern there. 31 degrees. It'll drop to 45 in places like Bozeman and Billings. Great Falls dropping down to 41 degrees. And then Friday, we still see more of these showers. As you can see, quite a bit of activity happening now, spreading into eastern Montana, in and around the Billings area. The potential for some showers and thunderstorms. Hopefully, we'll start to see some measurable amounts of precipitation across the state. Yesterday really didn't provide a whole bunch. A few places picked up some nice amounts of rain. Places like Miles City, also up along the High Line, there were a couple of locations, and Kalispell picked up some rain. But largely, a lot of the state's still dry, and that's what we have concerns about. So Friday is looking promising, at least for some rain to fall in parts of the state with slightly cooler temperatures. Okay, let's take a quick look at our 3-day forecast for Kalispell, Great Falls, Missoula, and Helena. Notice again today a gradual increase for the chance of showers in Kalispell and Missoula and Helena. Great Falls, probably not until tomorrow. Temperatures will be from the 60s today, dropping down into the 50s on Friday, and then Saturday starts to rebound pretty nice. Great Falls and Helena both looking at 70. Missoula will be sunny and 72 on Saturday. Kalispell, a nice pleasant 67 degrees with clouds and sun. The 3-day forecast for Butte and Glendive, Bozeman and Billings. Well, Glendive is kind of in its own place. Temperatures hold steady Thursday and Friday with a bit of a drop on Saturday and a chance of rain showers into Saturday. Meanwhile, Butte, Bozeman and Billings, well, a little bit cooler on Friday and then a little bit warmer on Saturday with a chance of rain. Janelle?
All right, thanks so much, Rob. Well, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Great Falls, around 60 kids from the ages of 12 to 18 usually celebrate their teachers with a dinner each year. Well, this year they weren't able to do that, so they awarded 10 teachers with plaques. Now, the students explained how important education is to their church community.
For us, education is very important, and we value education and having knowledge. Knowledge is the greatest thing you can have, and so we think it's important to recognize and show our appreciation for them.
Now, theaters, museums, and gyms are allowed to reopen this Friday, but Missoula's nonprofit community movie theater isn't quite ready. The Roxy may be open by mid-June at the earliest. Eventual reopening would likely look at operating at half capacity. However, completion of the outdoor theater should be done by mid-June and will hold 60 people. As for the 2 drive-in theaters that still exist across Montana, the Laurel Amusement Park Drive-In is open tonight. The Silverbow Drive-In in Butte has not yet opened for the season. Up next, your latest ag news is with Russell Nimitz. Don't go away.
Ranch Report from the Montana Ag Network.
Hi everybody, it's time for your Farm and Ranch News. Well, on Wednesday, a bipartisan group of U.S. senators, including Montana's John Tester and Steve Daines, along with South Dakota's John Thune and Mike Rounds, and even New Jersey's Cory Booker, introduced a new resolution to support mandatory country of origin labeling for beef products in the United States in an effort, they say, to provide some critical support to America's cattle producers hurt by this ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. This week I talked with the Montana Stock Growers Association's president, Fred Wacker, out of Miles City about the resolution and why the MSGA is supporting it.
Montana Stock Growers is absolutely in favor of it because we think that we have the right and we need to label our USA beef. And I prefer a picture of a U.S. flag and it says this is a product born and bred and raised in the United States of America. And I think it will help the consumption of beef that's raised and born and bred in the United States. So it's a big deal. It's an important deal, and we look forward to it.
Now, the resolution urges the president to require the U.S. Trade Representative to enter into the necessary trade negotiations to allow the U.S. to re-implement mandatory cool in a manner, though, that's compliant this time with WTO regulations. Now, by the way, Montana's Congressman Greg Gianforte has also sent a letter to Agriculture Secretary Sonny Perdue to find a meaningful solution to also allow product of the USA labeling on all U.S. beef. Well, stay with us. We'll have more ag news right after this. Continues to run at a slower pace this year, with an estimated 42% of the crop planted compared to the 5-year average of 63%. Now here in Montana, 50% of our spring wheat crop is already planted, while only 27% is planted in North Dakota. Meanwhile, our nation's winter wheat crop is now rated in 53% good to excellent condition, but that, my friends, compares to last year's 64%. But Montana's winter wheat is certainly faring a lot better than the national average at 64% good to excellent, while Wyoming's winter wheat is even in some better condition at 79% good to excellent condition. And finally today, it looks like the Montana FFA is making history this year, and that's because the first ever virtual state convention will be hosted via Facebook Live May 20th through the 21st. And approximately 2,000 attendees were originally supposed to attend the 90th annual Montana FFA State Convention a few weeks back in Great Falls. But the Montana FFA Board of Trustees has decided to celebrate students' achievements regardless and how they continue to learn and lead through an online state convention despite the hard times we currently face. Now, all general sessions, they say, will be streamed on the Montana FFA Association's Facebook page, and a full virtual convention schedule can be found at the Montana FFA's website at montanaffa.org. Well, that's a look at your farm and ranch news. Have a great day.
Thanks, Russell. Well, Nickelodeon has been sliming stars for years. So take a look at this. It makes sense that the network looked to the stars to find its latest targets. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Nickelodeon partnered with NASA and sent the slimy stuff into space in the name of science. Sure, the astronauts did have fun, but also conducted experiments on the slime in hopes of gathering new insights on the state of liquids in zero gravity. Researchers say slime is roughly 20,000 times more resistant to motion than water.
So you got your slime, your astronaut, all we're missing is Sigourney Weaver.
That's all we need. But we have Rob Griggs.
You do.
Let's focus on the sun.
I'm the weather slime today, but that's in a good way, in the context of that story, something that makes it fun. Just look at the map, okay? Just look at the map. We got some green slime moving around down there. That's rain showers and possibly a couple thunderstorms. Highs today a little bit warmer than yesterday, into the 60s, but then tomorrow we cool down pretty much statewide, and we stand a pretty good chance of having some rain. And guess what? Like slime, we need rain.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Thanks, Rob. We'll see you tomorrow.